I've improved my sleep schedule drastically over the past few months, and I've helped my friends do the same and improve their recovery. When I try to help people get in shape, especially with college students and people who have full time jobs, I saw this massive problem that apparently nobody was able to solve. They all said that they were sleeping terribly, like they had shitty sleep schedules. They said that they, quote, tried everything, but nothing was working. And nothing was working until I implemented this 6 step protocol to help them improve their sleep. First thing you've got to do is watch your caffeine intake. This problem was very prevalent. I'd say it applied to college students more than it applied to people who work, but it applied to both groups. So I'd be like, oh, you haven't been sleeping well, so how have you been dealing with that? Like, how do you get your college work done? How do you stay awake at your job? And they'd be like, yeah, bro, I drink like 4 to 6 cups of coffee a day. Yeah, I'm like a caffeine addict. Ha 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 ha. And they'd say it with pride as well. It'd be like, yeah, like I drink a lot of caffeine and I stay awake. I work hard even though I'm deprived of sleep. And I'll tell you why this is really dumb. Obviously, everybody makes mistakes, but this is a dumb mistake. Okay, so when do you drink your coffee? They'd be like, yeah, I have one when I wake up, I have one at work or, during my college classes. And then once I'm done with them, I take pre workout and then I hit the gym. And then once I come back from the gym, I need a little bit more caffeine to get my homework done. So at this point, I'm already like scrubbing my face with my palms, just like scratching my head, going, what made this guy think that consuming caffeine at like 6 p.m. or whatever at night is a good idea? So I'd ask them, okay, so when do you do your homework or whatever? Or like, when's your last dose of caffeine? And they'd be like, yeah, like around about 6 p.m., 7:30 p.m. Yeah, like right before I do my homework. Or like if they have jobs, they'll be like, yeah, right before I go hang out with my boys. I'd be like, you have your last dosage of caffeine at like 7:30 p.m. and you have to wake up at like 6 a.m., 5 a.m. the next day. How the fuck do you expect to sleep at like 9:30 p.m.? It's damn near impossible. I hope this isn't a surprise, but caffeine affects sleep a lot. And when I say a lot, I do mean a lot. Now, am I saying that you can't have caffeine? No, no, look, right here. Cup of coffee, right here. But there's two things that you've got to keep in mind when it comes to caffeine: timing and amount. I'm going to oversimplify this, right? You can look into it more if you want to hyper optimize your caffeine intake. But for the sake of this video, I'm going to keep it really simple. For timing, just stop all caffeine intake 12 hours before bed. And if you need pre workout before you hit the gym, then get a non stim pre. For amount, now this can vary depending upon your genetics and how sensitive you are to caffeine and stuff. But just as a general recommendation, keep your caffeine intake below 350 milligrams per day. Second thing you've got to do is set an alarm to go to bed. Now, hear me out here. I know that we all hate the alarm that goes off in the morning, and the last thing that we want is for another one to go off at night. I know I hate the alarm. We all hate it. But here's the thing: if you've got an alarm for 6 a.m. in the morning and you've got to wake up, and you go to bed at 2 a.m., even if you do wake up in the morning, you are not going to be rested. The better option would be to set an alarm for 9 p.m. and start unwinding and then be in bed by 10 p.m. Now, this will do two things. One, it's going to make it way more likely for you to be adequately rested the next morning when you wake up. Two, you may not need an alarm in the morning at all because you might just wake up at around 6ish naturally because your body has enough sleep. Now, I don't recommend that you completely take the alarm out of the equation, especially when you first start. But eventually, it is completely possible for you to not need an alarm whatsoever. Third thing, extremely obvious: exercise. Exercising, especially exercising with intensity, by that I just mean hard training, is one of the best things, maybe even the best thing you can do for your sleep. I hope this isn't a surprise to anybody, but when you're tired from exercise, you're more likely to go to sleep. What I'm really surprised by is when people say, and I'll talk to people and I'll be like, oh yeah, you're struggling with sleep, so what have you tried before? And they'll be like, yeah, bro, I've tried everything. I've tried like melatonin, like zinc and magnesium, and I've tried like ashwagandha, bro. And they never once mention exercise because they don't exercise. Now, all of those supplements that I just mentioned, they can help you with your sleep, but they're not going to make or break your sleep. They just can't. But exercise definitely can. I know this because I'm on a deload right now, and my sleep hasn't been nearly as good as it was when I was training. A good training regime is going to help your sleep a lot. Oh, by the way, if you want personalized help with your fitness, just send me a DM on Instagram. You can check the description and the comments. Just send me a DM and I'll help you out for free. Now, the last few steps are very simple and straightforward. Number 4, no screens an hour before bed. Blue light is terrible for your sleep and you should try to avoid it. But if for some reason you can't avoid it, then you can just turn on night mode on your device. Number 5, have a wind down routine. Now, it's really important that you understand that this doesn't have to take ages. You don't have to meditate, shout affirmations, take a cold shower, and like spend 2 hours winding down before you go to sleep. It can be very simple and very short. Your wind down routine could be as little as 15 minutes. It could be as simple as just brushing your teeth and your tongue and using the bathroom before you go to bed. Number 6, try to only use your bed for sleeping. Now, this isn't that rigid of a rule since there's plenty of other things that you can do on your bed that are not sleeping. But try not to use your bed for something that makes you excited or makes you think, like studying or doing your homework or whatever, talking to somebody that gives you butterflies or whatever. Try not to do that stuff because then your brain starts to associate that emotion with that location. We don't want that. I'm not going to go into too much depth about the psychology and all of the neuroscience behind this. You can look it up if you want to. But try to only use your bed for sleeping.